MacVoices Holiday Gift Guide number 2 with Jeff Butts and Charles Edge. This is MacVoices. This edition of MacVoices is supported by NordVPN. Get secure and private access to the internet with a special deal at nordvpn.com/MacVoices. This week's MacVoices is supported by Kolide. Kolide is an endpoint solution that uses the most powerful untapped resource in IT, end users. Learn more at kolide.com/MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, we have another MacVoices Holiday Gift Guide for you today, or at least the first part, because we usually split these into two parts. The idea here is to give you ideas of what you want to give or maybe get during the holiday season. So sometimes we help you give, and sometimes we help you tell other people what to get you. We're going to go around the table, see who's here this time around. We had one panelist that was not able to make it at the last minute. So we have three, but including me. So that means we have two really good people and then me too. So with that, first up, Mr. Jeff Butts from the Mac Observer. Jeff, it's great to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, Chuck. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you for being here. You're very festive with the purple hair.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, looking equally festive, but not with purple hair, Mr. Charles Edge. Charles, great to see you.
It's good to see you too. My kid might walk by or make an appearance in this, and then you'll see the purple hair. I helped them do Manic Panic all day last Saturday, so it's quite glowing purple right now.
Oh,
nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm the odd one out here. What is Manic Panic?
It's just one of the many hair dyes, but it's funny because when they asked me to help them with it, they were like, it's new to me and I've never heard of dyeing hair before. And I'm like, oh, we were using the exact same shade of Manic Panic when I was in high school. So nothing new here.
Okay.
And then I tried to explain to them that this Nirvana band wasn't new either, but we'll see if they believe me at some point.
It doesn't matter as long as they're going in that direction and not certain other music styles that I will not slander here on the show. All right. Well, it's that time of year where we start to look at things back at what we've purchased or what we feel like we can recommend to friends. So if it's okay, we'll just keep that order. And Jeff, that'll give you the first pick of round one.
All right. Well, one of my favorite gadgets these days, because of how many things I have that I have to charge almost every day, is a 4-in-1 charging stand from Hyperjuice. And this charging stand, it supports MagSafe. It has an Apple Watch charger, and then it also has two Qi pads that you can put other devices on, your AirPods or another iPhone that supports wireless charging, or Android phone. Whatever you might need to charge wirelessly.
Okay.
I love that. I frequently find myself swapping my phone and my AirPod case out for charging. So two of those ports, then I wouldn't have to touch a cable.
Right.
I always feel dirty touching cables now.
You know what? For me, it's more, I don't really mess with cables too much because I've got pretty severe arthritis and it's deformed my hands quite a bit. So trying to get the cables aligned right is always a challenge for me. I hate doing that with my iPad, but I can't get around it. They haven't brought wireless charging to the iPad yet.
I used to feel like the multi-port chargers were something that I just used for travel, but it's gotten to the point now that I have them all over the house. Just because you have so many devices.
Yeah, and this one sits on my nightstand. It never really moves, but if I need to travel and I need to take it with me, it folds flat, which makes it really easy to pack away in a suitcase.
Right. Good pick. Good pick. Practical for home or travel.
Yep.
All right. So Charles, are you going to go with something powerful or something else?
This is something else. So I sent you the links for these so you don't have to dig them up. But my first one is just a collection of gag gifts. So the links I included were for a shocking pin, a toilet paper roll that doesn't rip, a hidden cricket chirper so that, your friends can hear crickets every 4 to 8 hours and hate their life, and some fart spray.
Why would you
I feel like I
this?
need. Oh no, I need almost all of those in my life.
Yep. See, you never grow out of it.
No.
Some of us never grow out of it. Apparently, there's no question about that.
And they're all like $4 or $5. So they also have these gift boxes on Amazon that you can that are fake gifts, and so you can put them inside the fake gift box that says, like edible toilet cleaner, or some weird gift idea that would never really fly.
Nice.
So I highly recommend bundling the gag gifts inside a gag box.
This from the man who's written how many very technical books on technology.
But how many whoopee cushions were consumed during those writing sessions?
Right.
I don't even know what to say. Yeah, well, of course you did know what manic panic is, so maybe I shouldn't be surprised.
Charles has layers.
Yeah.
No, I have no
like
depth,
an onion.
why...
Like an onion, he has layers.
Yeah. I'm so tempted to bring up some of the confessions that were happening before we started the show, and I thought, no, I'm just going to leave those there. No, I'm not just going to leave those alone.
Love it. And so, what have you got for us, Chuck?
Okay, well, my first pick is I even do a little show and tell. My first pick is this. This is a MagSafe attachment that you can put on a tripod, and then all you have to do is that, and your phone is on the tripod. And I particularly love this for photography because I think my hand is steady, and the phone does a pretty good job of steadying things out. But at the end of the day, the simple fact is, if I want something really sharp and really crisp, I need to have the phone on a tripod. But it's a hassle to get one of those clamps and get it in there and get it leveled and all that. And with this, you just snap it on there and adjust it to how you like it and go. So this is from Moment. They make several of these, one of which comes with a cold shoe. I just got this very basic one to start out with. But if you have a need to mount your iPhone somewhere, apparently the what? my Echo decided to talk to me right then. Thank you very much.
Very nice.
This is great because even if I wanted to use my phone as a camera, which we will be able to do with Ventura, and not necessarily hook it anywhere, I'll be able to mount this little tripod right in front of me and just pop it on and off very easily. So if you're into the MagSafe accessories, this is one to add to your collection. You will use it and you will love it.
Does it have a hinge for angling?
No, this one does not. So, but again, that's why you get a tripod. You have something that's adjustable so that it can go any way you want. And I don't know about you, Charles, but some of those I found to be a bit of a mixed blessing because they always seem to be not at the angle I want, and trying to get them right back to exactly that right angle is tough. So this just eliminates at least one of the failure points in trying to get it level for me.
Yeah, anytime I'm using a tripod for anything, I want to do the panning and tilting from the tripod, unless I'm automating it, which we'll get to that with my next pick.
Okay. Yeah. So today's edition of Mac Voices is supported by Kolide. Kolide is a fleet visibility solution for Mac, Windows, and Linux that can help you securely scale your business. The challenge with endpoint security has always been that it's difficult to scale, and when remote work took over, that challenge got exponentially harder. You need visibility into your fleet of devices in order to meet security goals and reduce service desk tickets. But how do you get that visibility when different parts of your company run on Mac, Windows, and Linux? You get Kolide. Kolide is an endpoint security solution that gives IT teams a single dashboard for all devices, regardless of their operating system. Kolide gives you real-time access to your fleet's data and can do things that traditional MDMs can't. And instead of installing intrusive agents or locking down devices, Kolide takes a user-focused approach that communicates security recommendations to your employees directly on Slack. You can answer every question you have about your fleet without intruding on your workforce. Visit kolide.com/MacVoices to find out how. If you follow that link, they'll hook you up with a goodie bag just for activating a free trial. That's Kolide, KOLIDE.com/MacVoices. Again, kolide.com/MacVoices. Thanks to Kolide for their support of MacVoices. This edition of MacVoices is supported by NordVPN. Get secure and private access to the internet with NordVPN. Are you missing out on your favorite show because it's not available in your region? Trying to keep your private time private? Let me introduce you to NordVPN. If you're bored with US Netflix, why not take it for a spin in the UK? Using NordVPN and a click of a button, you can do just that. No need to travel to Japan for your favorite anime when NordVPN brings it right to you. With over 5,000 server options, no show is out of your reach. Using my link, nordvpn.com/MacVoices, you can receive a huge discount on a 2-year plan plus 4 months free. We all love to binge, but privacy is a big deal too. NordVPN keeps your information encrypted, so you never have to worry about your IP or location getting out. Don't forget, there is literally no risk to you with their 30-day money-back guarantee. Give it a try, and if you like it, great. If you don't, they'll issue a refund and you can pretend the entire situation never even happened. Check it out at nordvpn.com/MacVoices to get your subscription started today. That's nordvpn.com/MacVoices. Thanks to NordVPN for their support of MacVoices. That's a quick round one, and I'm terrified of what Charles will have for round two, so I'm going to ask Jeff to start round two.
Okay, so dive right in. Sticking with the photography theme, Theutech makes a device called the Vimbo III. And I wish I'd thought to pull it out of my desk drawer before we started this, but basically it's a stabilizer for your iPhone for photography. It's also a selfie stick, and it's motorized, so it will track whatever you choose as your subject. It will track it as it moves around. It also has a built-in joystick so that you can adjust your angles, you can pan, tilt, and do whatever. It acts as a remote for your iPhone camera, so you can automatically take pictures just by pushing the button. It will change your iPhone from portrait mode to landscape mode if you want to change what angle you're taking images in.
That's interesting. It's a combination selfie stick with all those other capabilities and the tracking capability built in.
Right. Yeah, and it'll stabilize things. I've shot videos with this where I'm walking around and you can't even tell that I'm walking. It's quite handy, and you can attach it to a tripod. It has the threaded hole on the bottom for attaching to any standard tripod.
Interesting.
Wow.
I'll be anxious to. Yeah. Here we go.
I love that it can. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say spending each other's money, right?
Yeah. Well, isn't that why we're here?
Yeah. I'm just making a big Christmas list as we go.
Yeah.
The kids will give me my own socks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I'm sorry, Charles. I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
I was going to say it's impressive that it can switch between between landscape and portrait. I didn't know that that was an API that Apple had made available. So that's cool.
It's not. It physically rotates the phone.
Oh, got it. so
Yeah.
I would say poor man's API, but actually, since it costs money, in addition to the phone, not exactly.
Yeah. Not exactly. Yeah.
Right. I love it.
Okay. Well, this is turning into the photography round. Or no, that's right. I wrapped up the first round. So there's no theme yet. Charles, are you going to create a theme for us?
Well, I can tie it in. So I wrote a little program that will translate a photo into a STL file, which is what you use to 3D print. So my next one would be a Creality Ender 3 3D printer, which is kind of the hacker's 3D printer of choice. You can get them on Amazon for about $190, or every holiday season, I see them in retail outlets get dropped down to about $120, which, when Chuck Hull invented FDM, which is what most of these printers use in 1989, these things were going for tens of thousands of dollars. And then when his patent expired in 2009, the price just plummeted into, $1,000, $1,500. And now the fact that we can get the same type of stuff with better fidelity, I would say, with our prints, you can get them for $120 to $200 and be printing within a couple hours of setup. You can also spend up to $100,000 if you want to do like carbon filament printing and stuff like that. But that's more for additive manufacturers. But I have four 3D printers, although usually only 3 work. It's like there's a redneck joke in there, but I'll leave that off to the side. But I do feel like every year 3D printing gets a little bit better, and so goes a little bit further out into how accessible it is, how low friction the process is, no pun intended. So for anyone who hasn't experimented with them, it's a great little entry point. It's not that expensive. And with websites like Thingiverse, you can be printing all kinds of crazy stuff. Just download people's files and hit print. And then I included, in the link I sent, I included my own Thingiverse page, which has all the designs that I've made. So, and if anyone wants to print completely random things, and most of them have the Blender files as well if they want to make them look pretty, because most of my stuff doesn't look pretty. I'm not a good graphic designer.
I've seen Creality 3D printers as low as $99 at an electronics store here in the Kansas City area, but they're always sold out.
Yeah, I think the first Creality that I got was 120, so that it's pretty close. The best one that I use cost about $800, but it does a whole bunch of stuff that you would have to print extra parts and buy extra little things and hack together with Creality. The great thing about Creality is everything's open source, so you can hack everything together that you'd want. But but every now and then you just want a surefire print. So,
Yeah.
So we haven't talked a whole lot about 3D printing or the state of 3D printing on MacVoices, and I'm curious, Charles. I mean, for you to have a bunch of them, and I know you love to hack around with the stuff, and that's great. But are we to the point now that we're seeing the ability to print things that are practical for the let's call it the average geek? I won't say the average home, but the average geek. That it's no longer just something to play with; that it's actually turning into something useful.
I mean, with enough skill, there's still some hacking around sometimes, but I'll give you an example of something that happened yesterday. A piece of the hose. I have this retractable water hose in my house that was installed probably in the 70s, and a little plastic piece just snapped and broke. And so I took out my iPhone, I LiDAR scanned it. So if you have an iPhone Pro with a LiDAR scanner, then you can do a 3D scan of an object. And then I converted it to an STL file. And then I popped it in the printer and about 15 minutes later, because it's tiny, it was done printing. I put it in the hose and the hose was fixed. And I had
Nice.
searched around on Amazon, on, Home Depot, looking for, this little part, and I couldn't find it. So in that way, it's really useful. None of the designs on my page are useful, just to be clear. They're all like Dungeons and Dragons miniatures or busts for the History of Computers book that I did. So they're all completely useless other than for almost artistic or whatever, or D&D purposes. So
I would call that useful.
Yeah, and well, the D&D part and also the artistic is a completely valid use too. I'm not sure that I've ever encountered anyone that was doing anything artistic from an artistic 3D printing standpoint.
So what I did there for the book, I found that there were a lot of photos of famous people in computer science that I couldn't get rights for. So what I did is I made custom busts of some of them and then 3D printed the busts. And then I was able to take photos of my own objects and put them in the book without violating someone else's intellectual property. So
Very cool.
Yeah, I have to think about that. So is taking a photo, does that violate anything? I'm not trying to challenge you. I'm thinking about, where this is going. If I take a picture of you and decide I want to 3D print a bust of you, am I violating, or if it's a picture you took of yourself, am I violating any of your rights? I don't know.
I don't either. My lawyer said I was cool with what I was doing, but beyond that, I don't know.
Well,
also probably 5 people will buy this book, so whatever.
I think you'll sell a few more than 5. But just the fact that you thought about it to go and ask your lawyer, that's just the world we live in. You have to check everything right now, it seems.
I'll let you know if I get a cease and desist.
Okay. From somebody's family, maybe, who's gone. So I'm going to pick for the second round, and I'm going to read it. I want to make sure I get it all right. If you haven't seen this, it's the Anker GAN Prime 65-watt charging station. It's a power strip for travel that is probably it's about this big. It's got 2 AC ports on the front, 1 on the back. It's got, excuse me, do I have that right? Yeah, 2 AC, 2 USB-C, and 1 USB-A port, all in this compact little package. A 3-foot cord that wraps around it so that, again, it stays nice and compact. And it's GAN, so it's not sucking up a lot of power or generating a lot of heat. I put this in my bag. It's going to live there now for travel. Because I don't know about you guys, but it doesn't seem to matter what hotel I go into. There are never enough ports. Plus the fact I am not a big fan of plugging my phone or anything just directly into the USB ports that are on, the lamp or whatever, because you just never know, who wired that in. And if you really get paranoid, some of the things in the airports, is there anything on the other side of them trying to take your data out? So I like to have control. I like to plug into an AC port because as far as I know, that hasn't been hacked yet. And this is from Anker, so it's going to be, really good quality. It seems like Anker shows up more than just about anybody else in the MacVoices gift guides. This is on Amazon. It's about $70, $69.99. And if it's possible to have a new favorite power strip, this is my new favorite power strip.
Cool.
So, if you need to travel. All right, so that's 2 rounds. So usually at this point, I kind of warn folks that if you have a list, you have to really start thinking because there are only 2 picks left. But if you only came with 4 or 5 picks, then it's easy. Charles and Jeff are back in the next edition of MacVoices to finish up gift guide number 2. And as you would expect, the unexpected. Until then, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices. Thanks for watching.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.